Are you the type of person that has thought about traveling internationally but always came up with a reason or excuse not to? Well, today I want to tell you about my first overseas international trip that happened back in 2019 and also how I realized how easy it was to travel internationally. So first of all, if you're in North America, traveling internationally can be a lot easier going from, for instance, United States to Canada to Mexico. Today I want to focus on overseas travel. For me, my very first overseas trip happened in 2019. It was getting near the end of the year and I was chasing status on United Airlines. I was trying to find a way to domestically get the miles that I needed to get to Platinum. Someone replied and said, hey, you got a valid passport and $800, you can fly from Des Moines, Iowa, where I'm based out of, to Taiwan. And I was like, Taiwan? I barely know anything about Taiwan except that's where all the semiconductors are made. That was about the extent of my knowledge, but I thought, hey, Taiwan, why not? Now, one of the things that made it super exciting was that I was able to clear an upgrade, so I got to fly in the lie flat seats in United's Polaris. That definitely made the outbound trip worth it, and I would highly recommend if you're doing international travel, you want to be more rested on your arrival, so definitely try to get that upgrade on the outbound. The craziest thing about this is I was only in Taiwan for barely 48 hours. And here's how it broke down. I landed at about 6 o'clock, something like that, had to clear immigration and passport control, of course, and then it took me forever to find a vehicle. I found someone who spoke English. He recognized me as a Westerner and said that he'd get me a van, and a white van with no labels came up and he said, this is yours. And I was like, okay, this is where I disappear from the face of the earth in Taiwan. Of course, Taiwan is a very safe country, as I would find out during the rest of my stay there. Of course, I did get to my hotel and it helped having Google Maps to verify that my driver, who was also using Google Maps, I made sure that I was going to the right place. The hotel was fantastic. And then the next morning, I was scheduled to go on a bike ride. I used TripAdvisor to book a biking tour, and I was the only one that showed up. And also my bike guide was from Austin, Texas. So there's no language barrier. And I have to say, it is the best money I ever spent. He was able to show me so much. We did an authentic Taiwanese breakfast, which was definitely a challenge for my Western palate. But we also went to markets, we saw temples, and he educated me so much about Taiwan that I never knew and wouldn't have known on had I not gone on this trip. Then in the afternoon, I was left to do a little bit of exploring myself, and this was in December, and I got to see how Taiwan does Christmas. Decorations were everywhere. They even have like a little area that they call Christmas City, and it was just one of the most amazing single days I've ever had in my entire life, let alone traveling. I got to use the subway system. I got to explore Christmas Town, have some Taiwanese cuisine. And then the next thing you know, the next day I'm packing up and I'm heading back to the airport. So technically I only had, 2 nights, 1 full day, and then a morning in Taiwan before I had to go back. Here's the takeaway from this. That was such an amazing experience. I had to get more. I need more international travel. Even though it was barely 48 hours, all the culture that I was able to absorb and learn so much. If you're the type of person that has ever thought about doing an overseas trip, I have to say it's probably more affordable and easier than you think. Of course, you have to have your passport and you have to have a little bit of preparation beforehand. Do some basics on the language before you arrive and have some sort of idea on what are you going there for? What do you want to get out of that trip? For me, Taiwan was supposed to be just a mileage run, as they refer to in the frequent flyer community, but it ended up being so much more. And I have had a thirst to learn and see and experience other cultures ever since then. I was surprised at how affordable that flight was. Granted, that was 2019, but also the hospitality that you're extended in other countries. America does a lot of things right, but it doesn't do everything perfect, and hospitality is one of those things that some countries do quite a bit better. You just got to get out and experience it for yourself, get that passport, go ahead and book that ticket, and have an adventure.